It's Psych Ups with Brian, and today we're going to talk about spring cleaning. So it's springtime. I always like to talk about spring cleaning and getting organized at this time of year. And it's because you want to attack summer. You want to clear the decks. You want to be all ready to have the best summer of your life in terms of your personal and professional life and your real estate. Real estate is hottest in the summer. That's when the most activity is happening. So you want to be prepped. You want to clear the trash and garbage and clutter away. So let's talk about organizing. I want you to, a really good goal is to think about two spaces that you need to organize in your world, either your office or your home, and two places you need to organize every week. Try to organize, and it just depending on how long you've lived in your house. If you've lived in your house a long time, you probably have a lot of areas that you could clean. Okay, like starting with the junk drawer and then, just making progress, cleaning up some area, making some area more organized every week. That's a really good goal, to stay organized and be organized. So now with your deals, like here's the things I want you to think about getting cleaned up before summertime. Can you do the garage? Obviously, the garage is like the last final dumping ground of the stuff from the house. So if the garage is organized, you feel like you have a lot more storage to put stuff. The garage is always a big one. Closets are always a big one. Your closet may be a mess. And of course, this is more business related, is your desk. What kind of shape is your desk in? How organized is your desk? Do you have a file drawer? Do you have file drawers set up properly? Now, let me talk about that for a second. How do you handle the incoming lead flow? Now, it would be great. I mean, we always talk about paperless offices and getting away from paper, but this is a paper business. People have to sign a contract. There's going to be paper generated by your leads and all that stuff. So you're going to have a folder. And when you go out to the house to sign the deal, you're going to have a file folder full of a bunch of paperwork. Okay, so yes, this is still a paper business. So when we get an incoming call, there's before I'm going to give you 6 positions. Now, if you have a computer, if you're tracking your deals on a scrum board, it's just kind of a funny word, but if you're not tracking them on a scrum board, I want you to track them somehow on paper using these 6 positions. Okay, so opening call is the first position. So once this is completed, then the lead gets put into that column. Okay, now in our software program, which is a RealFlow whitelisted, it's a RealFlow. There's this scrum board that has 6 positions for our creative financing deals, and you can name them anything you want. So once this thing gets done on that deal, then we will put that lead in that column. Okay, so it goes opening call, closing call. So once the opening call is made, somebody's talked to them, we have a lead sheet, a FSBO or some kind of a opening call lead sheet done. Then we write them, we enter them into that thing, and each little box is a lead, and each little box has the address and the owner's name on it. And when you click on it, it opens up and gives you all the information. But you can do this, you could figure out a way to do this on paper as well. So once the opening call is made, it's in that column. The next column is closing call. Did someone make the closing call? The next column is deal meeting. Okay, deal meeting. Now, sometimes we'll send offers. So we actually have a column called offer sent. Okay, then we'll have contract, under contract is our next column. And then the last column is ready to sell. Okay, so those are the columns that we track for our deals. And once it has achieved that status, then we move it over into that column. Okay, so now that's sort of organization for your business, obviously. And when you have incoming lead sheets, once we have a deal meeting, that's when we start building a file. I call it being file worthy. So when does a loan lead sheet become file worthy? When we've made the closing call and we have a deal meeting appointment. Okay, then it goes into a file. It goes in, the Zillow listing printed off goes in there, a bunch of other paperwork goes in there. There's already a few things in there when we start. Okay, so remember, guys, in your what to do system, you have the seller file checklist of everything that goes into that file. But the main 3 things that are in there legal paperwork wise is the standard purchase and sales agreement, the authorization to release information, and then the lender change of address letter. Okay, that's really important. If they have a mortgage, they have to sign that so you can send it over there so they don't talk to their mortgage company. And then the last thing I want you in every file is the seller congratulations letter. Don't forget to fill that out before you go out there. And when you're leaving, walking out the door, you hand them that seller congratulations letter, and that gives them something to chew on. It says, here's what you got to do next. You got to get us the keys and blah, 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 and all that. Okay, so that's your basic file folder. Once we have a deal meeting, then it becomes file worthy, and then it goes into the file rack. And then, you know, you have to deal with paperwork. So we have a file rack of deals in progress. Okay, now, in terms, I know you guys have a lot of comments today about organization, do you? Happy Monday, Nolan Cathy. Good morning, Jennifer. Good show up today. Serene Night Skyline. Hi. Good morning, Isabel. I was just walking around my house and thinking of throwing a match, you know, letting a new version rise from the ashes, like the Phoenix. That's funny. Okay. Yes, organized, guys. Remember, your clutter holds you back. You know, and it distracts you. You know, your mind is not clear when you're surrounded by clutter. Organized weekly garbage closets, desk, file drawer, 5 file folders with all deals. Yes. Thank you for taking good notes for everybody, Serene Night. It's like you have goggles on, seeing through everything. That's funny. I do sometimes hit just the topic you've been thinking about. You did close another deal last week and get paid. Wow. So there's that. Hope for a way out of my 3-year mess. This is the year. Yes, 2025. 2025. I like that. Hey, that's a good one. Good morning, Caleb. Yes, I always brightens my heart to see Caleb here. And Susan, happy Monday. Okay, so guys, that's what I want you to do. Get organized. Let's think about this week, you know, spring cleaning. March 21st is the first day of spring, so we're a little bit into spring. But let's, you know, by the end of April for sure, if not, you know, midway through April, I want you to feel like the house is in order, your office is in order. You know, even if it takes the whole month of April, so that when May 1st hits, you're really hit the ground running. Not to put your business on hold in April. And there's a thing called a pipeline. Guys, if you don't have the concept of a pipeline in your business, I want you to start to, you know, embrace that concept. You got to build a pipeline. You got to get leads coming in the front. You got to work the leads through, and then you got to close them at the end. And that's the 6 steps that I talked about: opening call, closing call, deal meeting, offer sent, under contract, and ready to sell. Okay, so those are the different positions, and you got to have deals in each category to build your pipeline. And so you got to obviously have leads coming in on the front end, otherwise you don't have the deals on the back end. All right, so let's get organized. Let's have an incredible summer and get our spring cleaning done so that we can really embrace a great summer. Hey, Roger, what's up? All right, guys. So our affirmation for today is I am organized. All right. Remember, we're building our reality in our mind. Now, you might say, well, I'm not really that organized, but you got to believe it to see it. So whatever the mind can conceive and believe, it can achieve. Napoleon Hill. And so conceive of a beautiful, organized house. Believe you can have it, and then you will achieve it. Okay. So let's set some time, though. Obviously, it all comes back to time management. So you got to actually allot some time for organization. And that's what happens. Sometimes we're so busy just running with all of our regular stuff. We don't do that. So this week, let's make a commitment to getting the house a little bit better organized and your office. Okay. I am organized on 3. Ready? 1, 2, 3. I am organized. I am organized. I am organized. Yes. 3 deep breaths. Nice deep breath in. Nice and deep. Hold it a little bit. And okay, good job. Another deep breath. Oh, it feels so good. You can always stretch a little bit. That's always good. One more deep breath in and hold it and let it go. Okay. All right. Invigorating. All right. So let's have an amazing week this week. Let's kick off our spring with a really good focused energy this week. So until I talk to you on Friday, keep expecting success, getting awesome. Whoops, I got a big long, I have a balloon payment coming up this month. Okay. Okay, adding 24,000. Okay, so that's the question. I mean, if you're adding 24,000 to the purchase price because you can't close within 6 months, you're paying $4,000 extra per month. I would say whatever you can do, try to get that thing closed or try to renegotiate that extension. Sometimes, they want, that's a lot for an extension. $24,000 for a 6 month extension. That's kind of a lot. I would try to either get that down or I would try to, is there any way that you can close it? I mean, is there a way to, well, how much is it going to cost you to refinance it? This is where you have to actually work out the pros and cons of each situation. If we refinance, look at the numbers. Do you have a realistic refinance opportunity and how much would it cost you and what would be the new rate and what would be the new payment versus, or could you sell it for cash, right now and make a profit? Or is it worth paying the 24,000 for 6 months extension? Or can you get that extension negotiated less? So could you get that down to like 12,000 or something? That's, just going by what you're saying here, that's some ideas that I have. Okay. If there's any way, but it's coming up this month, so it's going to be hard to, can you refinance? That's the big question. Do you have enough time? Okay. Napoleon Hill. Yes. Whatever you can conceive and believe. Napoleon Hill, Think and Grow Rich, guys. One of the best books ever. Okay. My balloon's coming due at the end of the year. Okay. Now remember, always ask for an extension, but try to get the extension without them asking for more money. Don't you ever bring up, hey, I'll give you more money. Don't you ever bring it up. Just say, hey, would it be okay? It's been going great for the last year and a half or whatever. Yeah, can we just keep it going? Let's just do another 2 years or another 4 years or whatever we already did. Always call 18 months. I want you to try to call 18 months before your seller financing expires, before the balloon payment hits. That gives you a little bit more time to come up with a solution. If you're right under the gun, like you guys are, Noel and Kathy, if it's this month that the balloons due, you might be kind of pressed into an unpleasant situation where you have to take the higher price and there's nothing you can do about it. So, but you don't want to lose the deal. Obviously, if it's a question of losing the deal, you're not going to lose the deal. You're going to just not make quite as much money. So, but always try to renegotiate and get extensions. That's the first choice, and never offer a price. Now, if they say there's no way I can do it, absolutely no way I can do an extension, then you either better get your person qualified that's in there in the next 18 months, assuming that they still want to qualify, or move them out, put another person in there who's a lease purchase tenant buyer who can qualify in 18 months, or again, sell for cash. You can always sell for cash if there's enough purchase price margin, but if you paid close to full price and you've only had the house for 2 years, selling for cash is probably not a good option. Okay, we're getting into the HELOC. Well, a HELOC, can you get a HELOC that's going to completely pay off the seller? If you can, yes, if you could, and this is a great idea, if you can get a HELOC on your own personal house to give you some financial wherewithal, that's a great idea. So if you get a HELOC that you can play around with and pay off stuff and then, use the money that way, that's a very good idea. I don't know if it's a great idea in this situation, but it's a great idea generally. Okay. Yeah. Just some ideas. Thank you. You're welcome. Steve. Wow. You did another no money down for a nice property with 50K instant equity. Steve, I think you're up to like 224 properties now and like over 65 buy and hold cash flow type properties. So you're doing incredible. Always love to see you here. So thanks for popping in there, Steve. Great job. He'll take 750 cash if he owner finances 200 down 15 years. Okay, again, that gives me some facts, but obviously not enough facts for me to make a decision because I'm not sure all the other things. I mean, that might be a great deal or a terrible deal, what Lacey's talking about there. We just don't have enough context. Situation like that where the tenant buyers are not making any progress. Okay, listen, if you have, again, 18 months is that key crucial point where I want you to try to make a decision. So if you got 5 years of seller financing, at 3.5 years, you're getting involved again. And you talk to the buyer and you say, hey, before you even ask the seller for the extension, talk to the buyer and say, hey, buyer, are you still interested? Do you still want the house? And if they say, no, we don't really want it anymore, you may give them a 30-day notice. You may say, look, we had this original agreement, and you may have to give them back some of their deposit, to make that work. You may not have to. Again, it all gets into this negotiation at that point. But again, 18 months out, you check with the buyer. Are you still interested? If you are, can we possibly get you qualified? If not, you got some other options like I've been talking about. Okay, but yes, if someone's not going to get qualified, you do have to start thinking about other options. 228, Steve's up to. Awesome, Steve. I'm so proud of you. Awesome. Way to go, Steve. Steve was at our Leads to Deeds event, and we had this big open house, and it was so big and so packed that the students were on the bus. And we said, look, if you guys get off the bus and try to get into that open house, it's going to be a fiasco. It was already bursting at the seams. We had 151 people go through that open house in 1 hour. And Steve was the only one. I always laugh about this. He was the only one who said, I'm going to ignore Brian and Lynette. I'm going to get off the bus and go stick my head in there and watch. And so I was proud of him that he disobeyed the orders. Good job, Steve. Love the 18-month mark. Yes, you've forgotten that. Good. Yes, now remember these things. It's always good to check in here, guys. Heck yeah, Steve. So, guys, it's always good to check in here and get tips. I take questions, obviously. If you got things that you need to know about or deals in the offing, for sure, I'd love to help you out. So, guys, another great brunch with Brian, or psych ups with Brian. And so let's wrap it up. Until I see you next, we already did our deep breathing and everything, and then I took questions. So until I see you guys on Friday, keep expecting success, getting awesome training from the Wolf Couple, and doing what? Lynette's motto, taking action.